Hello and welcome to this 300 Heroes Champion Spotlight. Today we'll be reviewing Ikaros from Heaven's Lost Property. In advance, I'd like to apologize for not having a lot of videos recently uploaded. The 300 Hero servers are giving me problems and it's been pretty unplayable lately, but everything seems to have been calmed down as of recent patches fixing it, so there will be more videos uploaded. Without further ado, Ikaros is an ADC type character, and I would like to say that she has become one of my favorite, if not new favorite ADC out of Blackrock Shooter. As if you've watched my other videos, you know that Blackrock Shooter is my favorite ADC. Anyway, let's get straight to it. Your Q, well, first off, your passive. Anytime you activate an ability, you can gain up to 3 stacks with your feathers. You gain up to 3 feathers, and they give you 10% movement speed and attack speed per stack. So that's up to 30% extra movement speed and attack speed for about 2 seconds. So if you use an ability, you'll get that nice bonus. So you want to use your abilities a lot in a fight, because the movement speed and the attack speed is really good, and you'll be able to keep up with people in fights and dish out more damage. It's really good early game and even better late game. Your Q, I can't show you here because it only affects hero units, and the enemy champion isn't considered a hero. But your Q, it has a really deceiving hitbox. Visually, it seems really small, so you can trick people with it. But pretty much, you shoot out this really short range projectile, and it travels through units, and it travels through heroes. But every hero it travels through, you shoot these little bolts they're a little bit bigger visually than, you know, the bolt that you shoot with your Q. It looks exactly like that, but you shoot up to 4 of them, and they home in no matter where the hero is. So as long as you've hit them with the first part of the Q, you get the second part. And each strike will deal a little bit of damage. It is not a lot, and it doesn't scale well either. But it does damage, and it stuns them for 0.06 seconds. So it's a really brief stun, but you know, it's 4 times. So that's really good, and it hits multiple heroes as long as it passes through them. Your W is really amazing, to be honest. Once you get 7 attacks, you gain a shield, and the shield will negate, well, it already broke, but you'll keep the shield until the next form of damage you take. It doesn't matter where it's from. It could be the biggest amount of damage you've ever taken in your life, or, you know, a minion can hit you, but it'll negate all the damage of that next attack pretty much after 7 basic attacks. On top of that, all damage will be negated for the next 0.2 seconds of the shield breaking, and I believe that duration increases as you put more points into it. So it's a really good skill, really good for 1v1 scenarios, good for keeping you alive. Honestly, things like ace alts and saber alts, it's good not to be afraid to stay in those while you have your shield up, because you'll completely negate it. Another fun factor, note that if it's a damage over time or a multiple hitting single spell, for example Saber's ult, if you have your shield up and Saber ults you, Saber ult hits about 5 times, you'll negate the damage from all the hits of Saber's ult. So even though the first one hits you, the first hit of her ult, the rest of it won't hit you. I don't know if that's intended or not, but it won't do any damage to you. Moving on, your E is a quick gap closer. It can travel through walls and stuff. And on top of that, you get this buff for about 3 seconds, and it gives you about 20% attack speed. Now, that attack speed is increased as you put points into it. And you need to remember that your passive already gives you 10% attack speed and movement speed every time you activate an ability. And this has doesn't have that long of a cooldown, especially at max level. You can use this ability a lot. And personally, I max this ability because it's really good and you'll do a lot of damage with this move. No one can really escape you. You'll move really fast. It's a really short gap closing cooldown. Gives you attack speed, goes over walls, it's good for escaping, good for fighting. It's a really good move. I would suggest maxing it. And I would suggest maxing your shield next. Your Q, there's no point of maxing your Q first or even second. It doesn't do enough damage and the stun time isn't increased all that much. So you want to max your E and your W before anything else. Your ultimate. Now, your ultimate is global. Before you get happy about your ultimate being global, you need to listen in. Here's the important part about your ultimate. Now, your ultimate. Okay, so when you use your ultimate, you shoot this huge arrow. And I'll show you in a second, but I want to explain it first. You shoot this arrow, and the first person it hits, it does base damage to them. And then for about the next 4 seconds, you'll do this huge aura of damage over time. Now, here's the kicker. Because it's global, doesn't mean that it's like the typical global ults like Ultraman's, where it passes through units and damages everything. Minions can block this ultimate as well. Jungle creeps can block this ultimate as well. So if you're trying to snipe someone in top lane or bottom lane, you need to be careful about either A, there's a minion in your way, or B, if it's gonna hit any of these jungle mobs in the jungle in the way, because you can possibly waste an ult, and its cooldown is it's not something you want to waste. So do note that this can hit anything. Anyway, here's what it looks like. You all, and then it goes and it hits. So you can hit minions, and it doesn't do a lot of damage regularly, but I would suggest in a team fight always using it at the beginning of it, as you can do a lot of damage to a bunch of people in a team fight, and it can easily turn a team fight around. As for picking off low health targets, the projectile, it's a little too small, and there's the problem of hitting minions and jungle mobs. So I wouldn't suggest using it as a pick off unless you're 100% sure that you can hit it. But other than that, don't do it if you're not sure, because there's no point in taking a chance with something like that. One, it doesn't do enough damage for a single target. It's pretty much to, you know, have control over a fight. So that's that. It's really good for helping a team fight that you're not a part of, if you can get it in there. Anyway, I'm gonna recommend a build. I can't show you the build that I use on here because the custom build feature hasn't been working lately. I believe it's currently bugged right now. But anyway, most of this is fine except for this item, and this item's okay. But anyway, you want to get these items right here: the attack speed boost, the sharp blood tooth sword, and the blood sword. But a really good item to get on her is the frozen sword, because you attack so fast and you attack so much, and with the movement speed, you'll be able to keep people slowed down, and you'll always be able to keep up with people. On top of that, it gives you good survivability. And another item you want to get is the where is it? Here we go. Is the river blade, because it gives you extra movement speed, extra attack speed, and extra crit. And honestly, with how much you attack, you want to crit a lot, and you want to maximize on that attack speed. as much as possible. Attack speed should be really important to you for your W. The more attack speed means the faster you can get your shield. You know, the faster you get your shield, the more damage you can negate, which is really useful. Another item that you could possibly get is the Kusanagi sword. As for playing Ikaros, I would suggest sticking to mid lane or bottom lane, making sure that if you're in bottom lane with another person, making sure that your partner is either a supportive type character or a tank type character. You don't want to go into a lane with another person that needs a lot of CS, because you don't want to fight over CS as Ikaros. You'll really need Ikaros. I mean, you really need Ikaros to get a lot of CS in order to do well. But you need to know that Ikaros, she snowballs really hard in game, and she scales really well late game. Like, no matter how bad you do early game, with a decent amount of CS, you'll do just fine late game. No matter how bad you get shut down, you'll do fine late game. With that, Ikaros, she's really good ADC, really strong, probably better than Blackrock Shooter. That's debatable, and I don't like to admit it, but she's probably better than Blackrock Shooter as it currently stands. As for playing Ikaros, I'd say, like I said, try to get mid if you can. If you can't get mid, go bottom, never go top. Get as much C as possible. When in team fighting, always use your ultimate in a huge team fight. Use your Q for the CC, use your Q for harass. It has a low mana cost. It has a decent cooldown, and it stuns and hits up to 4 times. It's 4 different stuns at once. Spam your E a lot. Spam your E a lot. Use it to dodge abilities, use it to keep up with people, use it for the passive proc and your passive from your E. Speaking of the passive, without cooldown reduction, it's hard to get that 3rd feather unless you're planning on using your Q, your E, and your ultimate, because your cooldowns are semi-high except for your E. And so using your E, Q, and ultimate can give you the max stats, but if you have cooldown reduction, this will be so short that you'll be able to get max stacks from just your E. And you'll be able to keep those stacks with just your E at max cooldown reduction. So you wanna keep that. You wanna keep in mind that cooldown reduction on Ikaros is not a bad idea if you wanna take use of your passive. So for recommended summoner spells, I suggest Ignite and Flash, Teleport and Flash, or Exhaust and Flash. The reason why I would say Exhaust and Flash is because it'll keep targets from escaping you, even though they can barely escape you as it is. But it'll also help you in team fight scenarios and escaping. With that said, Ikaros is a very, very amazing ADC carry, one of the best that I've seen thus far released. And that's all there is to cover. I hope you guys enjoyed or found this video useful. And I'll see you guys in the next Ranger Here video. Take care.